rules are still imperative and important. It's not that people can't do the drawings, it's just they mess up when it comes time to do the dimensions. We have very hard and fast rules that you must live by, and I'm grading you by those rules. Don't believe me? Take your chances. But I will be using those dimension rules. I will not refer to those today, other than just in passing, but you know where they are and you've dealt with them before. So let's start with drawing number 25 here. Alright, drawing number 25 says you're going to start a new drawing, save it to your folder as 18125. Well, always take a look at the drawing itself to find out which one of the different templates you're going to use. In this case, this is clearly an inch drawing, so make sure you use an inch template for it. I'm not going to tell you what template you use, you're going to have to pick the correct one. Now you can draw the angle stop using the attached example. There's no given spacing between them, space as needed per dimension rules. Insert a B-size inch border, I guess I told you what border to use, so you know what template to use, right? To establish scale. Now this is going to be the real kicker on most of these problems, is establishing the scale so the geometry fits nearly inside the border line. So you'll see what I mean by this drawing right here. Right here, this drawing, I want it to be enlarged to this point on a B-size border. I'll show you the examples. I want that one to fit like this. I want that one to fit like that. I want that one to fit like this. I want that one to fit like that. Well, make that one fit like that. See what I mean by that, okay? So your task, and I'll tell this to you first and foremost, whenever you're doing any drawing that ever has to be dimensioned, establish the drawing scale before you dimension. Does that make sense? What do I mean by that? Well, in this case, this drawing right here, what dimension scale will it be? So if, let's say I bring in my title block and borders. So it's just us bringing a B-size border. All right, so let's do that. Classic insert. And I'll go to browse, and I'll say borders. I'll say B-size inch, just like that. Then I'll go ahead and hit open. Right now it's at a scale of 1 to 1. If I bring it in, is that what I want?
No.
Clearly not. Clearly not. So what am I going to have to do then? Well, when I go to insert that border, I'll give you the first one as a freebie. Browse, B-size inch, and when I click OK, instead now I'm going to bring this in a scale of 0.5. Remember, these are inverse reciprocal. So if I bring it in at 0.5, it makes the border smaller, which makes the drawing bigger when it prints, okay? So now this will be a scale of 2 to 1. You're going to have to do this on every drawing. Hi, Riley. I got something for you. Come on over. Excuse me a second, folks. I'm the trickiest thing on all these assignments. Yes, you know how to do the drawing. Yes, you know how to dimension. But what you have to do is you have to determine the dimension scale first before you lay a single dimension down. Notice on here, the size of the text matches the size of the text inside the title block and border. That's always the best way to determine how we're going to do what we have to do. So if I come back here to my dimension style manager, and if I come back here and I hit override, I'll just do it for this purpose right on here. Notice that under fit, right here, I've set that value to be half the size. If that was set at, I'm going to change. Hold on a second.
Do you have to use modify instead of override?
Oh, well, I wouldn't think so. But this, don't worry about it right now. But just notice that on there. What we got to do, you got to set that to a value of 0.5. What does that do? It doesn't change the value of the number. The number stays the same. See it right there? 1.031. It just changes the size of it. And it makes it proportionate to what you're doing here compared to what it looks like in there. If your letters, numbers, and dimensions and arrows are huge or way too small, then you've not set your dimension style properly. And that's how we take care of it. Back there under Dimension Style Manager, and then we'll simply choose to do under fit right here is where we change that scale. I'll take it off of annotated, that's why. Set it back to 1. I realized that after I'd done it, click OK and close. Okay, see that? Clearly not right. All right, so your first task before you lay down any single dimension anywhere on any of these drawings, you must establish the size that the title block and border comes in, and then subsequently decide what that dimension scale is going to be. Does everybody understand that direction? You'd be shocked and amazed how many people will turn this in and not bat an eye. Okay, you've got to pay attention to that. That is the crux, the real reason for what we're doing on this one. You know how to do the drawings. You know how to dimension. These exercises are for you to be able to proportion, judge, and fit things on here correctly given the task that you've been asked to do.
Now, on here, the only other thing worth mentioning on here is the situation. Let me take this back to where it was right size. There it is, right there. Okay, on here, I will mention to you, anytime I've got something that's rotated at an angle, as we're seeing right here, I would like to remind you the process we use for rotating dimensions into place, so we get them to read the way we want them to do. I will do a linear dimension. I'll pick 2 points in space, including the point I'm planning to use the dimension from. Clearly not the right answer, but I will rotate that dimension into place, taking that as my base point, and then aligning it with the rest of the dimensions, or the rest of the geometry on there, and then I'll place it where I would normally place it, like any other dimension, and that's how we get it to read without having the gap here, but we still have the